All right, well, Tommy is starting to get some of the mulch unwrapped, and we have about 60 bags of mulch to lay. We just got back from out of town, so I'm gonna go get changed and we'll get started laying the mulch. Most of the tulips are blooming at this point, so once we get everything mulched, I'll show you how the front looks with the tulips blooming, and we'll go from there. It's just too nice outside today not to get outside and do something. It's about 65 degrees and sunny with no wind, so let's get started. And I do actually have another exciting thing to share with you all. I'll be trying out some new garden boots today. I mentioned in the last video that I don't like to wear gloves, but when I do wear gloves, I don't like to wear gloves that can get dirt in them. I don't like I like a solid leather glove so that dirt doesn't get in the fabric. And I was thinking, when I mulch and when I'm working out in the garden, it would probably be easier if I had some shoes that also don't allow dirt in. And so I had a company reach out to me called KalKal. They asked me to try their boots, and so I'm going to be trying them today for the first time. I'm going to be trying them live. I'll let you guys know what I think. If I end up liking them, I'll put all of the information in the description below so you can check that out. I will there'll be discount codes should I choose to post that, and we'll see how it goes. I thought, well, if I do the same thing with gloves, why would I not do the same thing with shoes? Because I have old tennis shoes that I typically wear in the garden, and they all just get ruined. They're dirty, and then inevitably those are wet because I washed them or sprayed them down with a water hose or something like that, and then they're not available for the next time I use them, and then I use a different pair of shoes, and I just go through shoes so often. So I thought, well, why not try boots? So I'll show you the boots in the box really quick, and I will wear them up front while I'm mulching. Something that I will be looking at is, are they comfortable? Can I bend down and kind of basically get on my toes when I'm knelt down and bending forward without them feeling uncomfortable? And do they keep dirt and water out? Those are kind of just the basic things that I'm looking for in a gardening boot. And they have many different varieties and styles and colors. And so, yeah, let me just show you here. Let me flip around. So this is the brand. There is their social media information right there. And if I can get this box open. So these are the boots. I love blue, and so I chose these. They gave me a couple different options, but these should be totally waterproof. And this is a really soft material that's not going to rub on my shin or my calf. So I think these are probably going to work out, but after I get 60 bags of mulch laid, that will tell. Okay, got my boots on, ready to go. I will say, probably just based on me putting them on my feet, maybe go down half a size. I think they run just a little bit big, but that was my fault. I got an 8. I probably should have got a 7.5. Let me grab everything that I need. I'm going to grab my gloves to spread mulch, kangaroo bag because I'll be weeding as I'm mulching. Check. I'll link that on Amazon. I've linked it a couple times, but for those of you that maybe haven't seen the previous videos, the Fiskars kangaroo bag must be hard shell. I'll link it below. Gloves. Let's do it. All right, completely done with the mulch. That fresh mulch feeling is just such a good feeling. And thankfully it didn't take near as many bags of mulch as when we initially mulched it last spring. So that was a huge plus. We just did a really thin layer, mostly for color. And I will share the mulch that we used with you all at the end of this video. But first, let me give you a review of the KalKal boots. They were awesome. My feet are clean. And I would give them a thumbs up. I'll put the link for the discount code in the description below, so check that out. It will be one of the first things in the description. Anything new that I find that I want to share with you guys, I will just keep moving those up on the list of things that I've linked in the description. So the newer things will be at the top. All right, now for what you guys really want to see. Here is a look at the front with the tulips blooming with fresh mulch. That fresh mulch feeling is just so nice. It just gives it that fresh layer, that really pretty spring color. And the tulips are all up and very much blooming. So I went back and looked at my pictures from last year because I keep all of those as kind of a time track journal, I guess, as to when things bloomed last year, how things looked for the previous year, etc. So I went back and looked, and on March 17th, our tulips were starting to bloom last year, and these tulips were blooming at the beginning of March. So we're about 2 weeks ahead of time, and the tulips that I planted a double, and I planted 2 singles. One was best purple. So the best purple is this standard tulip right here that everybody recognizes. And then the Yume no Murasaki is more of a lily shaped tulip. It's really pretty. I grew this last year. And then I planted doubles as well that were purple and pink. So you'll see that double right there. And all of these tulips are mid to late tulips. So I didn't plant any early tulips. So we are just quite a bit earlier than we were last year. It's just been unseasonably warm, so that's the catalyst for that. It's just is what it is. I would rather them be blooming a little bit later, probably mid-March, because the show is going to come and go a little bit sooner than it typically does. And I'm hoping that these tulips get up to height, because the best purple and the Yume no Murasaki are quite tall, around 22 to 24 inches high. The doubles Beyond Baroque is the type of double that I ordered, and those are a little bit shorter, but the other 2 are still quite a bit shorter than they should be, so I'm hoping they kind of catch up. And then the alliums, you can see the alliums are just getting ready to go crazy. I don't see any bloom heads on those just yet, but that should be coming here pretty soon, I would imagine. And the boxwoods are putting on just a ton of new growth. I'm super happy with all of the boxwoods, really, except for one. The one that I'm most concerned about, I mentioned it in the last video, so if you already heard this, I apologize, but it's this one right here. So it's a green velvet, and I mentioned in the previous video that when we were trying to dig that one up, there was a large stone underneath the dirt that we couldn't see, and Tommy's shovel slipped and it damaged the root ball quite a bit, but I thought that I would give it a chance. And it's definitely not dead. I've checked the stems, and it has green stems. They're pliable, but it's just looking a little bit rough. And so I may end up taking, for those of you that have been following along for quite some time, I may go ahead and take one of the boxwoods that I planted right underneath the window box in the back and put it up here, because I'm almost done with giving this one a chance up here, just because it looks so much more sad than the other ones up here, and I really want everything to look good this spring. And so once we get out of the chance of freezing temps, which is typically for us, our average last frost date is April 10th-ish for us. And so after that, I will be probably replacing that boxwood with one that was in the back underneath that window box, because I had a little bit of trouble with those last year and I lost some. And so I have a good size one that it's about that size right there that I think I can transplant once the risk of freezing is over, and it can take good root in the spring and be looking good for summertime. But really, I mean, honestly, that's pretty good for all the boxwoods that we transplanted and moved. I'll take it. In the previous video, I had a lot of people ask about, let me zoom in here, these grasses right here. So those are Mexican feathergrass, and we had those in our old house. And I love Mexican feathergrass. It gives texture, it gives winter interest that's a non-evergreen winter interest, and it's pretty windy here in Oklahoma, so I like the way that these grasses look when they blow. These will get a lot bigger, and honestly I might need to get a little bit more. I don't cut these back in the winter time because I just love the winter interest on these. You can see here right there on that one, let me zoom in really quick, so you can see there that that one has a lot of green on it. And because that's typically how they come back, like there's already a lot of tall green stalks in there, it would be starting completely over. And I really kind of like that golden color that they provide. You can see here, this is a slightly different variety than this. This is a more upright. I don't know what the variety is, and I'm not really sure. I don't think that there's a ton of different varieties of Mexican feathergrass, but we got these early on, and then I decided to add more, and then we got them from the same place, and those are kind of the more laid over look. I really prefer this look more than kind of the flopped over look, but you know, that's just what we were able to get from the wholesale nursery. So yeah, I mean, pretty basic stuff up here. Honestly, we were very careful not to mulch any higher on the trees being all of the trees that we have in the front yard. For those of you that may not know, you just don't want to put mulch, you don't want to pile it up on the crown of the tree. So it invites pests, it makes rot a little, it makes your trees a little more susceptible to that. Like you'll hear people say the mulch volcano, where people mulch up on the trunk of the tree, and you don't want to do that. It invites a host of problems that if you don't do that, you don't even have to really worry about. So yeah, I mean, everything's greening up, everything's looking really good. I did get a fiddle leaf up here for the porch that I will be getting a big planter for. I don't think I'm going to leave it right there. I think I'll probably move it up a little bit, and this side over here, this east side, gets quite a bit of sun, so I might play with it over there, but it might end up getting a little bit too much sun in the summer, so we'll see. I grow a fiddle leaf on our back porch, and fiddle leaves do fantastic for me here in full shade typically. I just actually cut my one back that's probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7 feet tall. I just chopped it again recently so that I can get some more offshoots to make it more tree-like. And this one is a 2-stem over here, and I'm gonna let it grow like that. So yeah, I'm really excited for things to come up here. I really can't wait to get started planting up here after the risk of frost is over. And something else that I want to mention, actually, so since we've started doing quarterly maintenance with Arbor Image, this magnolia is looking so much better. It was looking pretty sad when we first bought the house, and it had a lot of ice damage from the bad ice storm that we had 3 or 4 years ago at this point, and it was just looking really sad. And once Arbor Image came in, the leaves are much greener. It's getting nutrition that it needs, and I've been very happy with that. Everything has just been super healthy since we started that program with Arbor Image. I can't recommend them enough. This, you know, some people say like, oh, is Arbor Image giving you all that stuff for free? And they do help us out here and there, but we pay for our quarterly maintenance. It's an honest review of Arbor Image, and if you're local in Oklahoma City, I would 100% call them. What else? Gosh, I think honestly that's pretty much it. Gosh, the little lime hydrangeas that you see right here, they're leafing out. I'm really excited for those. I was telling Tommy earlier that those are some of the plants up here that I'm most excited about this spring and summertime. I was really looking forward to incorporating those, and we had just a lot of trouble finding little lime hydrangeas. I wanted something that was a little bit smaller in stature that bloomed on new wood that I can control the size without pruning off any blooms. So and while we're at it, I will take you to the back, give you guys a look at the back, because here pretty soon we're going to be started on redoing the back. If you haven't been following along for a while now, you should know that we pretty much did to the back what we did to the front. Pretty much stripped most things, transplanted what we could, and then we put the same metal edging in. We plan on replacing the fence that I'll show you back there. And then we plan on pretty much overhauling the back as far as plants go. So let me actually just take you back there. I'll show you what we have going on back there, what it looks like right now, so that we will be able to compare once we get everything planted in the spring. I also have a project for one of my good friends that I'm working on, a landscape plan. And Alex, the guy who does everything for us here as far as the heavy lifting stuff, he will be doing that project over there and planting everything for them. So I'll be sharing that as well. But let's just go to the back real quick and I'll show you what we got going on back there. Okay, so we haven't done anything really back here as far as planting. This is the boxwood that I was referring to over here that I'll probably take and transplant up front. I just would honestly rather start over back here, so that's what we're gonna do. The hanging baskets are gonna get an overhaul here pretty soon. I can't wait. We had Alex give us some drip emitter hoses that run to the back of those. So once we're ready to hook up the 1/4 inch poly hose that go to those and we run drip to them, I'll show you in a video how we do that. I still need to prune these hollies. I'll be pruning these hollies up pretty tight. We put these in the fall and they've taken really well. They're looking really good. Again, that's something that Arbor Image does, is with their quarterly maintenance. They fertilize all evergreens at certain times, and you know what's appropriate for what season. Basically, the oak leaf hydrangeas are really starting to bud out. I'm excited about that. I really like oak leaves. This arborvitae has some browning on it. I think that it was from a little bit of a lack of water this winter, which was our fault. The yard needs to be mowed. We mowed it last weekend. The grass is coming in pretty thick. More hanging baskets there. The snowball viburnum, hard to see. The lighting is a little bit tough, but this thing is just loaded with blooms, and it bloomed all summer for us last year after getting plenty of fertilization, so couldn't be happier. Still need to get pots in place. We are still waiting on the quote from Alex for replacing this fence. We need to get these leveled. We're waiting on Alex and his crew to come over here to get this done. We were going to do it ourselves, but really there's no point. They can do it 15 times faster than we can. There's a peony right there, and I cannot remember what that variety is, but it's got some really fat buds on it. I'm excited about that, but it's getting ready to get transplanted here pretty soon. As you can see, it is inside of this raised bed. But I think Alex is coming next week to do all of this stuff, because we're getting to the point where I am about to start being able to sow some seeds back here. What else? Gosh, I'm so ready to get this all done over here. We transplanted hydrangeas just to keep them alive. More than likely they are not going to be staying in that location. They'll probably be moved around. Like I'll probably move some here, but I still need to do the landscape plan for back here. I'm really bad about just winging it. Basically, I just have this vision in my head, and instead of putting it down on a landscape plan, I just keep it all in my head. But the red buds are looking glorious. So the big one and this one, these two are always the first to bud out. This one is almost always the last, this one right here. And you might see our beautiful door situation there. We're still waiting on our replacement glass, but all of the red buds are starting to bloom out, and the show of pink will just be awesome. And I'm really hoping that this tree does well this summer. So we will be giving this tree extra water, more than it normally would need. For those of you that may not know, we replaced the sewer line over here, and that sewer line just happened to come out right there, and they did have to cut a pretty large root and obviously damaged some other roots. And so we're hoping, we did a tree IV on it with Arbor Image, and we're hoping that that tree doesn't struggle at all this summer, and we'll be trying to pay attention to it and give it exactly what it needs to prevent any stress on the tree when it gets hot. So that is all that I have for you all for this video. I can't wait to get started and get everything planted back here that we are looking forward to plant. I have been giddy about getting back here and getting some plants in the ground, and we just ultimately ran out of time in the fall, and so we had to wait until spring. So anyways, that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.